Test, test. Clearlake regular meeting of the Clearlake City Council, Clearlake City Hall Council Chambers at 14050 Olympic Drive, Clearlake, California to order. Thank you all for coming. Tonight's council meeting. I'd like to call this a regular meeting in order. Oh, I just did that. Roll call, please. Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Wilson.
Present.
Councilmember Hooton.
Here.
Councilmember Kramer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Downey.
Present.
And Mayor Slotin.
Here. Let's rise for the pledge of allegiance. Councilman Kramer, would you be the honor of. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please stay standing and have a moment of silence. All right, thank you. Go over the meeting procedures here. All items on the agenda are open for public comment before final action is taken. Citizens wishing to introduce written material into the record at the public meeting on any item are requested to provide a copy of that to the Administrative Service Director or City Clerk, Melissa, at the end of there and prior to the meeting, so that the material might be distributed to the City Council prior to the meeting. Speakers must restrict comments to the item as it appeared on the agenda and stay within 3 minutes time limit. The mayor has the discretion to limiting the total discussion time on an item. The council cannot answer questions or provide comment while citizen is giving their public comment. Once your comments are completed, the mayor may refer you to staff for follow-up. If you're on Zoom at this meeting, please note that only written comments are taken via Zoom using the CNA chat feature. Please enter your comments into the Q&A session. Mr. Laura, are there any changes to the agenda?
No modifications, Mr. Mayor.
Can I have a motion?
I second it.
Okay, we'll go to our portal to vote. Okay, we go now to presentations. Don't know whether.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I will read this proclamation. Black History Month, February 2026. Whereas the Lake County branch of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, will celebrate the combination of Black History Month and Martin Luther King's birthday, as we reflect on the proud legacy of courage and dedication from visionary leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Roy Wilkins, Rosa Parks, and Coretta Scott King. Local community leaders like Bessie M. Bell, D'Angelo Markowski, Barbara Kreiswitz, Thomas Achievas, Diane Thompson, and Vincent Taylor. And whereas the NAACP has been at the forefront of protecting our fragile democracy, which is under assault, voting rights of people of color in this country, and continue to address the Americans with Disability Act, workplace prejudice and hostility, military veteran, homeless, housing, voter suppression, and gerrymandering are urging the passing of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act, which will ensure all citizens' civil and voting rights are protected under the United States Constitution. And whereas the NAACP history is one of dedication and struggle to maintain equality and justice for all citizens of the United States. And whereas the local branch, like the NAACP branches throughout the state and country, diligently works on social programs aimed towards the elimination of banning books and rewriting our vast contribution to this great nation, eliminating racial hate, bigotry, and poverty. And whereas the Lake County branch of the NAACP is led by Rick Mayo, president and the 1982 founder of the Lake County branch, Now therefore it will be proclaimed that the city of Clearlake encourage all citizens to join in celebrating the diversity and character of our community and highlighting the importance of sharing our culture, customs, and tradition with those around us. Thank you. I'll sign this here. Rick, would you come up and thank you. You have a couple of words to say, please. Very helpful. Just-
First of all, I'd like to thank the city of Clearlake for the proclamation and for continuing throughout the years to recognize the history of African Americans and contributions that all of us have made to this society, as well as our community is very diverse. And the city of Clearlake has always recognized that and look for the strength of all of our citizens instead of the weaknesses that promulgate throughout the country. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to the next presentation of the Police Department Employees of the Year and Annual Report. Chief Hobbs, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. This evening, we have the honor of recognizing an officer whose service reflects the very best of our profession, Detective Chris Kelleher. Chris was born in Marin, California, and has called Lake County his home since childhood. He graduated from Lower Lake High School in 2007, and from an early age demonstrated a strong work ethic and a connection to the community he would one day serve. Before beginning his law enforcement career, Chris worked a few jobs while also serving as a volunteer firefighter from 2009 to 2015, experiences that reinforced the importance of service, teamwork, and dedication. Those same values continue to guide him today as a member of the Clearlake Police Department, where he served since 2015. Chris is known for his integrity, professionalism, and quiet leadership. Whether he's working a case, supporting department initiatives, or stepping up when needed, he consistently goes above and beyond what is expected. Outside of work, he enjoys hunting, being outdoors, and spending time with his family. Chris's dedication to service, both on and off duty, embodies the true spirit of public service. His actions have made a meaningful impact on our department, our community, and this recognition is truly well-deserved. Chris, thank you for your commitment, your professionalism, and the positive difference you make every day. Next up, we have I have the honor of recognizing dispatcher Amanda Nabriga as Dispatcher of the Year for 2025. Amanda was born in the Bay Area and moved to Lake County in 2003. She graduated from Lower Lake High School in 2008 and went on to work in the medical field for several years, beginning in 2012. That experience proved to be a natural foundation for the work she does today, requiring compassion, precision, and the ability to stay focused during critical moments. Since joining the Clearlake Police Department in 2021, Amanda has consistently demonstrated the qualities of an outstanding dispatcher. She remains calm under pressure, communicates clearly and effectively, and makes sound decisions when they matter most. Outside of work, she enjoys art and crafts projects, spending time outdoors and with her family. Amanda is a dependable teammate, a steady presence in the communication center, and someone others can always count on. Her commitment to public service and to the residents of Clearlake does not go unnoticed. Thank you for your dedication and your hard work every day. Welcome. And next, we have our Professional Staff Employee of the Year. Proud to recognize Senior Code Enforcement Officer Steve Felder. Steve was born in Denison, Texas, and developed a connection to Lake County early in life through frequent visits as a child. That connection became permanent when he moved to the area at the age of 23, making Lake County his home and the community he continues to serve. Before beginning his career with the city, Steve spent 21 years working in construction and the building supply fields. This background has given him a strong, practical understanding of building standards, code compliance, which he brings to his work every day. Steve joined the city in 2016 as a code enforcement officer and has since become a steady and knowledgeable presence in the department. When he's not at work, Steve enjoys smoking jerky, spending time with his grandson, and watching sports. Had too much of a pause there. He is also a lifelong and dedicated Dallas Cowboys fan. Oh. Steve brings the same dedication to the community outside of work as he does in his role with the city. He's a member of the Clearlake Lions Club, and he's also president of the Clearlake Police Officers Association. Another thing that's pretty neat, and there's a couple of people here tonight that are gonna get to see something and experience something with Steve that has been a long time coming. Recently, last year, Steve met his father and his sister for the first time. And the great news is that they're here tonight to watch him get this award. So Steve, thank you for your service and your commitment to the city of Clearlake. We get Lou and Ramona to come up real quick for one photo.
Oh, that's a little one.
Good evening again, Mayor and members of the council. Next, I'm going to go over our annual report for 2025. So just to start, our mission is to enhance public safety by providing professional, trustworthy service in partnership with the community. Over some of the basic functions and divisions of the department, we have records and communication, which is dispatch, records and information technology. We have operations division, which is patrol, investigations, evidence and property, K9, VIP, and explorers, which didn't start till this year, but I threw it in anyways. Support services, code enforcement, training, professional standards, and recruitment. To start here, we'll go over some statistics. We're going to cover crime statistics, general statistics, response times, evidence, traffic, and code enforcement. So on the crime statistics, there's several main categories that we report now with cybers and NIBRs. Cybers is the state, NIBRs is to the federal government. The three main categories are crimes against persons, covers all the things listed there: assault, homicide, human trafficking, kidnapping, sex offenses, and non-forcible sex offenses. Crimes against property includes arson, bribery, burglary, larceny, theft, counterfeiting, forgery, vandalism, embezzlement, extortion, blackmail, fraud. And then crimes against society: animal cruelty, drugs, narcotics offenses, gambling offenses, pornography, obscene material offenses, prostitution offenses, and weapons law violations. So in these categories this year, we had some definite increases overall in the crimes against persons, crimes against property. Crimes against property, a lot of the increases there are related to an Assembly bill and Senate bill that went into effect last year. We've had almost 100% increase in crimes that large stores and grocery stores are reporting thefts to us. We don't believe that the number has gone up of actual crimes being committed in those locations. They're just reporting them now because there's a lot more teeth and things to do with the offenders. So from talking with a lot of the businesses in security, they are coming forward reporting these, where before they wouldn't call us most of the time, or they would call us, ask us for an incident number to use for insurance purposes. But now they're making actual reports and we're making arrests on these incidents. So those have gone up. So in the, we'll go to the next slide here. In the overall categories, you can see the crimes against persons, property crime, and society. And the property crime, a large percentage of that is related to these thefts, basically petty thefts, misdemeanor thefts that were not being reported near as much until last year. Overall, though, if you look at our 10-year average, even with some of these increases, the crimes against person and the property crime, we are still at the low end of our overall numbers for the last 10 years, very close to the low end in all those categories. Crimes against society, this depends how you look at it, but this is not necessarily bad. 95% of the cases in that category are proactive cases, mostly drug arrests, weapons offenses, things that officers go out and proactively do, or detectives write search warrants on cases, go out and do proactive things. So like I said, almost all of those are proactive things that officers create in that category. In the persons crimes, for example, here, some other things, you can see the assaults are up. Those assaults are all minor misdemeanor assaults. Homicides, there is no percent change. We went from 4 to 0, so you can't get a percentage out of that. So that's pretty huge. That's our lowest number since 2019, which is very positive. Our lowest, first time we've had 0 since 2019. You can see the kidnapping, abduction. Most of these are not kidnappings. Most of these reported incidents are child abductions. Most of them are regarding a parent, non-custodial parent, or a parent that has a court order and took the kid and didn't notify the other parent. Almost all of these are not what people would generally consider an abduction. So those are down, which is good. And then also the sex offenses are down a good percentage as well. And same thing with both of these. The overall numbers in the crimes against persons, if you look back at the historical 10-year period, we're very close to the bottom of where we have been in that range period. For example, one of them that falls into that is the robbery. Robbery, the last 10 years, we've ranged from 14 to 37 robberies a year. This last year was 16. So again, some of these things that made the percent look a little higher, but overall, they're still pretty low compared to where we've been. Some just general numbers, total incidents, we're up about almost 9% to about total of just over 38,000 incidents. Traffic stops, we went up pretty high last year, about 38% more, up to about 4,800 traffic stops. Reports, there's an error. We went from 3,100 to 3,400, so up about 9.5%. Arrests went up from 1,800 to just over 2,000, or about 10%. Traffic citations went down a pretty good percent there. That was a lot having to do with the increased traffic stop, trying to do some different enforcement things. Our numbers for traffic citations to begin with, if you look at the 2024, where roughly 1 out of every 3 traffic stops is getting a citation, is a pretty high number. We generally have not done that many. Most agencies don't issue that many citations for traffic stops. So last year, our focus was on trying to bring the numbers of total stops up to make people more aware of our presence and us be more visible out there on the roadways. Response times, priority 1, those are the more serious calls, and then priority 3 would be the less serious. They were all up a little bit, 19 seconds on the priority 1, priority 2, 7 seconds, priority 3, 68 seconds. And these numbers, these are averages of a lot of different incidents. They don't necessarily reflect what every priority 1 call is. The times on these are from when our 911 system rings and the dispatcher picks up the phone, the timer starts. And then when they physically input that an officer is at the location, the timer stops. Unfortunately, these always aren't accurate. Sometimes officers get there before the dispatcher dispatcher is busy on the phone. They don't always enter that the officer has arrived, which stops that timer. So, in the serious calls, it is generally considerably faster than this. Evidence and property. There was 3,800 evidence items processed into our evidence room last year. We seized 106 firearms from people during the year. And then prescription medication, we disposed about the same as last year, right at 120 pounds. Traffic collisions, non-injury, we were down a little bit, about 5%. Injury, we were down about 14%. Fatal collisions, we had 3 both years, so no change there. Overall, down about 9% on traffic collisions. Code enforcement, some general numbers. Property cases, down 1%, just a tiny bit there, from 355 to 351. Vegetation cases, we went up from about 1,100 to just over 1,600, so about a 46% increase. Cannabis cases from 30 to 42, 40% increase. Vehicle cases, 258 to 371, a 43% increase. So total cases about 36% increase. Code enforcement citations, these are administrative citations, went up from just over 2,000 to about 2,800 last year. Property abatement. In 2024, there was 1 city-funded property abatement. In 2025, we had 4. And then grant funded in 2024, we had 0. And then we had 27 last year. Those were the Cal Recycle ones. So pretty big increase there. Vehicle abatements, in 2024, we had 160 city funded, 136 this year. And then last year, 0 grant funded and 41 grant funded vehicle abatements this year, up to about 177 total. Go over some accountability items, briefly talk about Axon performance, blue team, engage, and use of force review. Axon performance, there's no slide for this one, but for our body cameras, in-car cameras, Axon has a module that randomly flags videos for supervisory review. Those are reviewed by supervisors to look for any issues that may need to be addressed or retraining in areas that may need to happen. That's done randomly by the company and then, like I said, assigned to the supervisor. Blue team, all our use of force or different things all go into this program called Blue Team, where the reports are held. It will report the data to the state for us. It will also track stuff and give us indicators if something needs to be addressed with an employee, if there's repeat issues. Engage, I have a slide for Engage. Engage is the one we send out. So it's a text-based program. Last year we sent out 4,844 surveys to people that called the police department. Of those 4,800 surveys we sent out, about 2,600 people responded to our survey. Just over 86% are positive. Like I've said the other times, the number is actually higher. However, I don't go in and change all of them. Basically, the system asks you to rate how the dispatcher was on a 1 to 5 scale and how the officer was on a 1 to 5 scale, and then you put the number, and then you can add text in if you want. We get a lot of them where they say, you know, stuff. You can see some of the things on here. She was excellent, and then they give them a 1. And so the program does not let you change the result the person gave. You can exclude it, but it's not going to raise the positive percent rate. There's quite a few of those where people they say positive stuff. Some of these are pretty brief ones. I mean, some people they write a lot. I mean, some of them are 10, 15 lines long. And then they give them a 1 after they said all the positive stuff. So like I said, it's definitely higher. I would say it's probably closer to a little over 90% if we had the time to go through and exclude everyone that the person scored it wrong. We get most of these generally are on dispatchers have the most because obviously there's only, depending on the time, there's 1 to 2 dispatchers on a day. So they get a lot more surveys done on them. The officers get the next most. Code enforcement does not get too many, but they do end up getting them sometimes. Everyone has access to these. The employees can log in. They get basically an email update every month that gives a summary of their responses from everyone out there. And then the ones that get low scores, essentially ones that get 1s or 2s are automatically flagged and then get reviewed by either myself, Lieutenant Snyder, or Lieutenant Peterson. We can communicate back and forth with the person on the cell phone number that they communicated to us on. Use of force. So like I said, we document use of force in our in a program called Blue Team. Tracks basically these types of force: impact weapon, pepper spray, canine, physical force, physical body weapon, ECW, which is what we have as a taser, and then firearm. So you can see for 2024, we had 4 uses of the taser, and then we had 30 uses of physical force. In this physical force, this is more than just grabbing someone and handcuffing, and this would be doing some type of physical force where the person had a complaint of injury or had a physical injury. You might have gotten into a scuffle trying to handcuff them. They fall on the ground, scrape their knee. These are for ones where, like I said, the person has some type of injury or more than just grabbing their hand behind their back is used. So 30 last year, down to 19 for this year, and then on the taser 4 last year and 0 this year. These numbers are extremely low, which is very good, fortunately. As you can see here, for this year, so we had 38,249 documented contacts where we contacted a citizen on a call. And so of those, roughly 19 force was used. So right at just over every 2,000 incidents did we use force. So that's extremely good numbers. We're very fortunate that for the most part, everyone complies and we don't have to use any of dang it. We don't have to use any physical force very often or use any of their items on this page. So that's definitely very good. I think it's a testament to the training a lot of our officers have and their willingness to communicate well with people, de-escalate, and try and avoid using force. Personnel, we're going to cover recruitment, new employees, retirement, new K-9 team, employees of the year, and then service recognition. So recruitment, police officer training applicants, we had last year 21, 0 made it to background, 0 were hired. Officers, we had 36 applicants, 8 made it to background, and 5 were hired. Dispatchers, we had 142 applicants, 4 made it into background, and 1 were hired. The dispatcher one is often these applicants for this, they're applying for reasons we don't know. A lot of them do not have any follow-up with us. They apply. They don't respond to any of our emails, answer phone calls, stuff like that. So I don't know if they're applying for unemployment reasons, stuff like that, but a good percentage of those don't follow through with anything once they apply. New employees, we had Officer Eduardo Rivera, Officer Manuel Nunez, Dispatcher Jessica Mendez, Officer Samantha Bono, Officer Manuel Perez, and Officer Eduardo Angeles. Retirement. Sergeant Mike Peralt retired in November after 19 years of service in law enforcement, last 10 with us. We had a new K-9 team, which everyone met recently. Officer Sanchez and Tesla. Employees of the year, we just covered that. Service awards, those were given out to council meeting at the beginning of this month for awards that were earned in 2025. Sergeant Leonardo Flores with 10 years, Dispatch Supervisor Chelsea Banks with 5 years, and Detective Nathan Williams with 5 years. Training, will cover post-training and non-post training. Post-training is the California Commission on Peace Officer Standards of Training. They do all the certifications for training for the police officers and dispatchers. We had a total of 3,464 hours of training that officers and dispatchers went to during the year. And then non-post is generally the training that code enforcement does. There was 608 hours of training they attended during the year. Community engagement, we'll cover SROs, some events, and different things we did during the year. SRO program, there's our 2 SROs, Officer Perry and Officer Ellis. They're assigned full-time to the Connecticut Unified School District. And just a list of some of the events our staff went to or attended this year. And that's it. If anyone has any questions, I can address those.
I just have one question. There was both an increase in total incident and an increase in code enforcement. Is that because of staffing issues that fully staffed or pretty close to fully staffed now?
In the total incidents for officers, yes, that had a lot to do with it having the extra personnel on to do a lot of the proactive things. Resulted in increased incidents and the increase in those crimes against society. So that was definitely a role in that. And then code enforcement staffing, we were staffed the same as the year before. They just, well, to be honest, they do a lot of hard work and they were out there getting a lot of stuff done and taking cases and doing things.
Great. Anybody else have questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
With regard to the code enforcement, did some of that action increase because we had some funding for like cars, abandoned vehicles or anything like that that contributed to our?
Yes, the increases in the abatements were definitely due to grant funding. We had the Calvert Cycle grant, and then there was another CDBG grant from the state that money was used to do the vehicle abatements that normally those additional 41 abatements we had from the grant funding on the vehicles, we wouldn't have been able to do without that.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you.
All right. If not, we move on to public comment. Thank you, Chief Hobbs.
You're welcome.
This is the time for any member of the public to address the city council on any matter not on the agenda. That is within the subject matter jurisdiction of the city. The Brown Act, with limited exception, does not allow the council or staff to discuss issues brought forth under public comment. The council cannot take action on non-agenda items. Concerns might be referred to staff or placed on a future agenda. Please note that comments from the public will also take place on each agenda item. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per person. The council cannot answer questions or provide comment while a citizen is giving their public comments. Once your comments are complete, the mayor may refer you to staff for follow-up. We have one here, Mr. McMayo.
I'm gonna try to stay within this 3 minutes. Tonight, members of the city council, I'm here to make a presentation to Tim Hobbs, Clearlake Police Department and staff. And I wanted to thank him for believing in our mission and being a part of our newest mission statement brochure, along with Joyce Overton from the Clearlake Senior Center, and Chief Bing, and yes, Sheriff Bingham of the County Sheriff Department. And it gives me great pleasure as First Vice President of the Veterans of Lake County to present you with this plaque of appreciation to your staff and yourself for believing in our mission. We serve veterans of Lake County. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anybody else wants to address the council? Here in the public? If you want to make a comment, you have to come up to the podium and state your name.
My name is Jörg Friedrich, and 10 years ago, I bought a place here in Clearlake, and the building is called the Cobblestone. And I made a mistake. In hindsight, I should have never bought the building, but I bought the building. When I bought it, I loved it, and I wanted to fix it up because it was in need of some loving, tender care. If I would not have bought it, the building would have had collapsed because the roof was failing. I've been asked to get a building permit, and I asked for a building permit. And after 10 years, I have not been able to get a building permit. One time I talked to Mayor Slutin that the building was considered a historic building, and I had to hire some architect. It cost me $5,000 to find out it was not a historic building. Then I was finding an architect and an engineer to do some designing on the building, because the building is out of stone and it was built 80 years ago, the year I was born. And they didn't have rebar at that time. So nobody knows how the walls were built. And every engineer I talked to stepped backwards and says, you cannot do anything. But finally, I did get an engineer and designer designed me the plans, and I submitted the plans, I paid the fees. And then I jumped the hoop to get that preservation architect to sign off on the historic building. And then they told me I have to put a sidewalk around the property. And I told Mark Roberts at that time, if the sidewalk cost me more than $50,000, I won't be able to do it. And when I hired the engineer to design the sidewalk, it came to $96,000. So I did make a change. I make a lot line adjustment and cut down the amount of property which goes with the cobblestone. And I submitted the plans again, and they just told me today that they want me to put in front of the cobblestone a brand new sidewalk in. And I told them that I am in my age, I'm not going to do that. And I asked the council to look at my building permit, give me my building permit. I did everything else except for the sidewalk, and let me finish. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public here wants to address the council? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, we'll move forward to the consent calendar. Anybody wants to pull an item from the consent calendar? Not anybody, even the public that wants to comment on the consent agenda? If not, anybody on Zoom wants to have some comments on the consent calendar?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
All right, can I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Please go to the portal and vote.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Go now to business items. Mr. Flora.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, so item number 9 on business is update on the Robin Lane sewer spill emergency. So I just wanted to share a brief update with the council. Most of you were at the town hall meeting last night, so we don't have a lot to announce in addition to that, but just as a brief bit history, almost a month ago now, there was a very significant sewer spill from the Lake County Special District's infrastructure 16-inch force main on Robin Lane. They were unable to isolate and stop the spill for approximately 37.5 hours, spilling very large amount of raw sewage, which has impacted an area that relies on private wells for drinking water. I guess nearly 2 weeks ago now, the city and the Lake County Office of Emergency Services under the Sheriff's Office stepped in and assumed unified incident command over the recovery of the incident. And so a number of things have been happening. Staff have been working on a lot of hours trying to aid and expedite the recovery of the folks impacted. We've been putting out a lot of information daily. There's a lot of information on our website related to what's been happening. continual testing, installation of tanks for a number of folks, well sanitization. I guess some of the key things that came out of the meeting last night, we had a hydrologist that we've been working with for a number of weeks to sort of analyze the movement of the sewer plume in the aquifer, how that's moving. And so there was a pretty thorough explanation of that. It's unknown at this time how long it will take the sewer plume to dissipate from the aquifer. It is going down, but still a lot of wells are not testing at acceptable public drinking water standards. So we have ordered 100 filtration and sanitation systems that will be installed soon on properties that want those to clean. This will clean the water from their wells. We're expecting those to be on the ground soon, and we're going to have a number of contractors out there installing those. We'll still be installing some tanks. I guess the key for folks that you talk to are members of the public that are impacted. Your main conduit for resources now is through the city, accessing the city website. We do have, as of yesterday, and we've added more today. So if you still want a water tank, if you do want a filtration and sanitization system, if you need potable water delivery or would like to have your well tested, if you just follow the link on our website, there's an online way to request all of those things. We're continually adding information each day about how to sanitize your tank and how you should be maintaining your private well and those type of things. So, I know there's a lot of frustration out there from folks. It's taken too long to get where we are now, but I am incredibly proud of the city staff that have been supporting this event. This is not something that is really the city's responsibility to deal with, but we felt that it was imperative to step in and help the folks that do live within our community. So that's kind of the brief overview. I'll be happy to address any questions that the council may.
Listen. I have a couple of comments. I want to shout out for Highlands Water. Thank you for helping out with the testing and providing the water. Really appreciate it. And also the staff, our staff has done an amazing job and worked through the weeks and weekends sometimes. So thank you for doing that. Penocti Water too. Thank you. Thank you for taking care of it. This is a community that takes care of itself. So thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
As somebody that lives in the area of the spill, I have to agree. I think that the city has stepped up big time and has provided credibility that wasn't there prior to that. It's like they're chasing their tail. We now have a process. We have a lot more tests that have been done. I've had 5 and that I have answers on, and I'm expecting a 6th tomorrow. I had one question on the UV filters. How many actuals do you know how many have been people have ordered them so far?
Well, the order that we placed was for 100. That's the number that are available in the warehouse. Folks that have requested them up to the point just before the meeting that have went through and filled out the form and all that, I think is about 26 as of now. So,
Okay. Oh, again, thank you for all your hard work. City Manager Flora, I've seen his pickup here now every day in the last week until 6, 7 at night, including the weekend. So owe him especially a big debt of gratitude and all the staff that's been helping out with him. So thank you.
Okay. Any comments from public on this? If not, any comments on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
We'll move on to item number 10. Discussion and consideration of memorandum of understanding between the city of Clearlake and Highlands Water Company. Mr. Flora.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. So, as you know, over the past few years, there's been a few sources of conflict that have arisen between the city and Highlands Water Company, which is one of the 3 water districts providing service here within the city limits. Early last year, the city and Highlands agreed to start having monthly meetings between professional staff and board and city council representatives. So that's happened monthly with very few, if any, misses over the last year. Felt like the meetings have been quite productive, addressed a number of topics. Councilmember Kramer and Councilmember Hooton are the 2 city council members that participated in those meetings, and President Coates and Treasurer Davis, I think, board member Davis were the 2 from Highlands Water. But we could talk a lot about the different things that have been addressed, but it came up a number of times about the idea of actually adopting a sort of memorandum of understanding between the 2 entities as sort of a basis to build additional trust moving forward. So a number of versions were kind of traded back and forth, and what you see here tonight is the one we ended on, which is relatively simple, but was a place to start from. And just to add on to what Mayor Slotin was saying, in particular through this incident, I mean, General Manager Davis and I have a lot of communication, and during this incident, we've spent a lot of time together talking about the issues. He has a lot of knowledge in water treatment in this area. And it's been very valuable to our incident management team to utilize his expertise. Very much appreciate it. And last weekend was an example of we didn't have enough testing teams to do the volume of testing that we needed throughout the weekend, because a lot of agencies have been testing during the week, said they were unavailable. I reached out to Jeff and provided 4 and on Sunday 5 testing teams just from their agency, including board member Davis was even out there helping. So it was really great to see. Really appreciate the progress that I think we've made, and I would encourage the council to approve this MOU.
Any questions from staff? No? Okay, open for public hearing on this item. Anybody wants to address the council?
Hello, my name's Stephanie Hummel and I'm here in Clearlake. And I just got a quick comment, and I wanted to comment on 9 and 10. I think that all of us working together is a good thing. And I think to have the town hall meetings for what we've been doing is really good as well. So kudos. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, come on.
Good evening. First, I'd like to thank Mayor Slotin and the council for giving us a little bit of time to talk about this. As some of you who know me know, I can be a bit verbose. Some might say flippant, but I will do my best to be succinct. Is the MOU technically, maybe legally binding? No. Does it cover any real scenarios that we're going to run into? No. Does it do much other than show good faith? No. But I believe it is a foundation to build on. And I think we can cross those bridges when we get to it. And I think it's very important that we can cooperate, come together, and Highlands be viewed as an asset and not a liability to the city, and vice versa, because I think we can be. So really, that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? From the public here? Yeah, I see.
Good evening, council, staff. My name is Frank Costner. I'm the general manager of Konocti County Water District, but I'm here tonight as a private citizen. I just want to say that it's really nice to see a spirit of cooperation instead of a spirit of confrontation between Highlands Water and the city of Clearlake. As Jeff says, the water districts have, they're an asset to the community. We try very hard to provide safe drinking water, fire protection for the entire city. Our staff works very hard. And so, it's disheartening when, perhaps we're not perceived in that manner. And so I think, working together for the past few years, I think everybody's kind of grown to know each other a little better, understanding our capabilities. And we really have started working together in a spirit of cooperation, including, testing the hydrants, making everybody aware that our hydrants are safe and that we provide decent pressure. Are the districts perfect? Absolutely not. Everybody has room to improve. The city has room to improve. We're all trying to improve everything for our communities. And so, this is just really, it's nice to see everybody moving forward in one direction. I think we all have a common vision of seeing the city of Clearlake prosper and grow. And, that's what we all want. We want good things for our community. And so, anyway, so I just really appreciate seeing this and would like to, continue working with Alan, working with the council and, doing well for the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other people here in the audience? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
Back to the council. Any more consideration or questions? If not, can I entertain a motion?
Excuse me, I do have some
Okay.
comments that I want to make. As a member of that committee that met with Highlands representatives, board member Davis, board member Turno, a couple times. I thought those meetings were really important. I think they opened the door to increase the trust between us. I look at this memo of understanding to do that. As you say, Mr. Davis, it has no legal standing necessarily, but it's just saying that we're willing to work together and hopefully get things improved. And I think we've already seen that over the last few months. So I'm completely in favor of the memorandum, even though it has no legal standing. But I would highly recommend that we pass it. Thank you.
Great. Now I can entertain a motion.
All right. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the city of Clearlake and Highlands Water Company.
I'd second it.
Okay, we'll go to our portal and vote. All right. Madam Clerk, results of the vote.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Right, we go to item number 11, discussion and consideration of actions related to the County of Lake proposed low value ordinance. Mr. Flora.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, council members. So I didn't prepare a staff report, well, for a couple of reasons. One, because I really haven't had that much time, and two, because I wasn't sure what was going to happen at the Board of Supervisors meeting this week. So I want to give a little bit of background on what was proposed. Earlier in January, the Board of Supervisors held the first reading of an ordinance that would create what's called a low value ordinance. And essentially, it would have taken every property valued less than $5,000 completely off the tax roll. And the reason that there was interest in doing that from some of the county departments was because these parcels don't have a lot of value, obviously. They often have a very high level of delinquency, and it's quite expensive to put a property through the tax auction process. And it's especially frustrating when that happens. And it's not something that's attractive for people to buy and it doesn't sell. And so from the county perspective, they were interested in reducing the cost associated with needing to meet the guidelines in state law to offer them for auction every certain number of years. So this was something that was addressed in front of the Board of Supervisors on a couple of occasions. I was there expressing that we believe that this would have a very negative impact on the city of Clearlake. So most areas of the county, this isn't so much of an issue. In the unincorporated area, there's almost zero of these parcels in, for example, the city of Lakeport. In the unincorporated area, there are a very large number of them along the North Shore, what's normally referred to as paper lots. Like when you drive along Highway 20, you see the hills up above Nice, Lucerne, Clearlake Oaks. Those hillsides are actually entirely covered with 50-foot by 100-foot lots on a very steep slope that are essentially impossible to develop. There's no infrastructure. They would have to be developed with a well and a septic, and it's literally not possible with today's standards to put a well and a septic system on a 50 by 100 lot. And so, you know, that was the county's concern around this, but I want to share my screen a moment and make sure that you can see what it looks like in the city of Clearlake. We have a little over 14,000 total parcels in the city of Clearlake. These little dots are the parcels that are valued at $5,000 or less. There's 3,398 of them. That's over 23% of the parcels in the city. You can see some areas, there's higher concentrations, like in Clearlake Park, and then out in the avenues. As we zoom in, you can see that they're scattered all throughout the city. So the concern being, now a lot of these are in tax default, but not all of them. Roughly a third of them are in tax default and could be sold at tax auction, but not all of them are. And so the concern being that if a property is taken off the tax roll and the property owner never needs to offer that or, you know, ever have to pay taxes on it again, there is less of a likelihood of code compliance for that property. We have a very high number of absentee property owners here in the city, and we expect our code enforcement efforts to be dramatically reduced. And in some of these areas, like for example, here, kind of the lower avenues, this is the source of the Cache Fire, the Boyles Fire, and many other fires that fortunately didn't get out of control. You can see the number of parcels impacted here would be well over 90%. So the Board of Supervisors on a split vote did approve the first reading of the ordinance. Supervisor Sabatier and myself had a number of conversations with the tax collector about other options that might be available. There was an interest in pursuing those, and we were working towards that. However, what happened before the meeting this week, in front of the Board of Supervisors, is the tax collector and auditor controller identified a section in the Revenue and Taxation Code that gives them the ability to take some delinquent properties, essentially waive tax delinquency from prior years. And so that would create a situation where they're not forced then to offer them at auction on regular intervals because that historic delinquency is gone. And so this provides additional flexibility for the city in that these are not going to be taken off the tax roll. Some of the ones that have that old tax burden, their intent, if agreement between the tax collector and the auditor controller, those can be wiped out. Now, you know, we've talked some over the years. One of the things that isn't the most attractive option here, but probably needs to happen in order to eliminate some of this cycle, is for the city to step in and acquire a number of these properties at a very low rate, such as $1 a piece, in negotiation with the county, put them in public ownership. And you can see, like in this area as an example, if the city was to acquire these, they could then be merged into larger pieces of property that then could be sold for some type of development, whether it was, you know, home lots on 1 acre where you could build a home, you could put a septic system and well on that property, could be sold for perhaps agricultural development or some other thing. Fortunately, the Board of Supervisors agreed that this was an acceptable solution at the time and did not adopt the ordinance this week. So at this point, I just wanted to give an update. There's not an immediate ask. We were planning on having the council adopt a resolution, sort of agreeing to a process that hopefully the county would accept in order to keep them from holding the second reading and adopting the ordinance. But this provides a little bit of breathing room as a solution to this issue. So I guess with that, I'll just stop and try to address any questions the council.
Anybody have a question? No? I have one question. When we had litigation with the county on that they had to, is this a part of the problem, or they're
Well,
supposed to do 1,000 parcels a year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that is a motivation of the tax collector. So that litigation resulted in a settlement agreement with the county, but essentially the settlement agreement said that the county needed to follow state law. So, I mean, you could argue that it is associated with that, but the legal obligation of the county to do this was essentially already there. But the current tax collector, who's really great to work with, very creative, you know, a real asset to the county, holds that obligation seriously and is concerned about making sure that he can meet those requirements, which wasn't so much the case prior to that, which is why we had the problem.
Okay, thank you. Anybody here in the audience wants to comment on this? Go ahead, Mr. Mayo.
Are any of these properties, are they out in the agriculture area, mostly in the outskirts of the community, where a lot of the vacant lots are that have existed for years? They were small in size and not large enough to do actually any legal building on. We talking about those teeny tiny lots in cluster that were 50 by 100, 25 by 75, and all of that.
Go ahead, Mr. Lauren, can you answer that?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's a higher concentration in those areas, but they are scattered all through the community.
So some of those have what we have considered paper streets that were classified at one time as undevelopable unless they were joined by other, merged with other properties. Alan?
Well, yeah, I mean, so Mr. Mayor, you need to ask your questions, make your comments, and then I'll address them.
Yes.
Alan, would you please comment on
Okay, I'm just trying to avoid a back and forth. This isn't how it's supposed to work. But yes, that is the highest concentration of the area, but they are scattered entirely throughout the city.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Any more public comment? Not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk?
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
All right, bring it back to the council.
I do have some comments on those paper parcels, especially in the lower avenues and on the eastern edge of the avenues. Not only are they paper lots, with no developed streets, but many of them are totally overgrown with brush, and they are contributing to the fire hazard on the eastern edge of the city. For the same reason up in the country club area, that concentration of lots up there also has got a large amount of overgrowth of both grass and brush. If we could get those lots, we could do something about that. Right now, I think there is something underway to try to comment or try to contact those owners that are trying to pay their taxes and have ownership to get permission to go in and do that kind of work on the lots. But if we owned the lots, then we could definitely help that area from the standpoint of fuel reduction. So I would definitely be in favor of our keeping an eye on that, and if we can make a deal with the county to acquire those for a low enough price, I think it would be in our best interest to do that.
Right, yeah, just real quick, I mean, to address some of those comments, I mean, yeah, it's worse in those areas, but this right here is the Highway 53 and Lakeshore Drive, 40th Avenue intersection. And all of these lots are valued at less than $5,000.
Okay. There's really no action item on this, so there's.
Fortunately, no action is necessary at this time.
All right. We'll move down to item number 12, consideration of letter of opposition to the League of California Cities Revenue and Taxation Policy Committee recommendations to restructure Bradley Burns 1% local sales and use tax allocation. Madam Clerk.
Honorable Mayor and council members, the City Council is asked tonight to authorize the mayor to sign and transmit a formal letter of opposition to the League of California Cities, or Cal Cities, regarding the proposed 50-50 revenue split of the Bradley Burns 1% sales tax for e-commerce transactions. The Bradley Burns Uniform Local Sales and Use Tax Law, adopted in 1955, currently allocates the 1% local portion of sales tax to the jurisdiction where the sale is negotiated or where the warehouse or fulfillment center is located, called a point of sale. Recently, the Cal Cities City Managers Department Sales Tax Working Group proposed a recommendation to change this allocation. The proposal suggests a 50-50 split. 50% would remain with the point of sale jurisdiction, while the other 50% would be redistributed to the destination jurisdiction, or where the product is delivered and the buyer lives. Clearlake would lose a significant portion of its sales tax revenue to other jurisdictions while still being 100% responsible for the service costs within city limits. Small cities with regional hubs like Clearlake are hit the hardest because we serve a wide geographical area. Losing local control of these funds makes long-term budgeting for projects more difficult. We've worked hard to secure funding and launch projects that promote economic growth. By changing the rules, Cal Cities is essentially penalizing cities that have been proactive and strategic in their planning. This is about keeping local control. Your council knows best how to invest Clearlake's dollars, whether it's in our staff, our parks, or in our public safety. Property and sales tax fund over half of the general fund, and even a 5 to 10% dip in sales tax could jeopardize our ability to maintain current service levels. Under the Cal Cities model, the city would be forced to subsidize jurisdictions that have not made the same investment in our community and commerce that we have. Staff recommends that we join other jurisdictions in opposing this measure to send the clear message that Clear Lake's revenue belongs in Clear Lake. And that is my staff report. And if you have any questions, City Manager Flora or I can answer them.
Okay,
Mr. Mayor, if I could add a little bit to that. How sales tax is calculated in California is quite complicated. So I don't want to oversimplify it, but I mean, this has been worked on some type of solution for a number of years. What I view as the root of the problem is really online transactions have become a significant part of, taxable transactions in California. Jurisdictions that have fulfillment centers where product is shipped out of, historically, that's where the sales tax is allocated to because it's shipped from that location. There are some different scenarios, but there's very few of these large fulfillment centers in the state, less than 10, and jurisdictions that have obviously wanted to get those in their community because it's an enormous amount of sales tax revenue, have created these sales tax deals where they've, in order to attract Amazon fulfillment center, have agreed to rebate large portions of the sales tax back to Amazon. We do get sales tax revenue from online transactions in some cases, but it is attributed to what's called the county pool. So some transactions that are delivered to your door from primarily Amazon, but other online retailers, gets allocated into the county pool, and then it's split between the three jurisdictions, Lakeport, Clear Lake, and the unincorporated area of the county, based on the percentage of brick and mortar sales tax revenue we get. So, and there's been this working group for years now that's been trying to negotiate some solution that makes sort of like the 7 big jurisdictions happy as well as little guys like us. So this is what's being proposed. Unfortunately, for Clear Lake, it's estimated that we will lose approximately 10% of our sales tax revenue with this, which is going to be, most likely over $200,000 a year, which is going to cause some real serious problems for our budget. And so, our hope is that the council will agree to oppose this, and perhaps there's a better solution out there.
any questions from staff? If not, I'll open it to the public. Anybody from the public wants to comment on this? If not, is there anybody on Zoom, Madam Clerk? Okay,
There are no comments on the Zoom, Mr. Mayor.
we'll bring it back to the council. You required a motion and okay. Can I have somebody make a motion? Just to approve the letter.
With the letters of opposition, I believe in California City.
I move to consideration of a letter of opposition to the League of Cities, Revenue and Taxation, Policy Committee. And, wait, that's basically it, right?
You have a second?
Approved to letter to authorize the mayor to sign. Sorry.
And I'll second that.
All right, let's go to our voting portal. All right.
Motion passes with unanimous vote of the council.
Very good. Go to the city manager's report and council member reports. Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, council members, a few things. The end of Saturday is the last day of our contract with North Bay Animal Services for animal control. Lieutenant Peterson has been fortunate enough to lead the transition process. So we do not have a signed contract, just so you know, with the new provider. But I think we're going to get there. Hopefully tomorrow. There's still some issues with confirming insurance requirements is the primary thing. So Lieutenant Peterson and I talked with their insurance provider today, and I think that we should get there tomorrow, but I just wanted to give you an update. So it has been a bit of a frustrating process, but I think we're getting there. I think it was last week. It's a little hard to keep track, but I attended the DLAC meeting at Canoctown Unified School District, which is the District English Language Advisory Committee. Chief Hobbs and some of our officers were there to present and talk about what the Clearlake Police Department does, concerns around coordination between the Clearlake Police Department and federal agencies, specifically ICE, that type of thing. So I think Chief Hobbs and the officers did a really good presentation, got a lot of good questions, and it was a good meeting. Okay, so 3 things that I wanted to end on that all involve money, more money. So it has been confirmed, I guess, that Caltrans has funded a $12.9 million safety lighting project along Highway 53. So it's going to be long-term. It's not expected to be complete until 2029. But that's going to be great. I know it's something a number of folks here have been talking about for years and been frustrated with the number of traffic versus pedestrian fatalities and just incidents at intersections and between intersections along Highway 53. So that's good. Was also notified this week the federal budget was passed. And thanks to Congressman Thompson, the $350,000 community funded project that we requested for public safety camera system in the city of Clear Lake that hopefully can include public safety, like crime related public safety, as well as hopefully wildfire detection technology. Was included in the budget, was funded, and so we'll be working with the congressman's office to receive those funds. And then we just found out this afternoon, we had some additional CDBG disaster recovery funds that will be left over from the Sulphur Fire Road project, the Arrowhead Burns Valley Olympic Road repaving project, which will start this spring. There was still some money left over. And after a lot of back and forth and a lot of advocating, we did get confirmation today that they are going to let us use the remaining $3 to $3.5 million to fund the Dam Road roundabout. So that's my report.
All right. Councilwoman Hooten, please. Anything to report?
Unfortunately, it's been quite slow for me, so I have nothing to report.
Councilwoman Wilson.
I attended the Cal City's Advancing Equity meeting last week, Friday. The discussion revolved around restructuring that committee. On Monday, I attended PEG TV committee meeting. Kingdom Games has launched a podcast. And there will be 2 hours of time that PEG TV is going to be have available for podcasts. And there was a conversation about having the 2 larger cities in the county, Lakeport and Clear Lake, possibly using some of that time. The youth videography project was passed on to Tom Ladzik, and There was some moving ahead on the project for the uh equipment at Lakeport City Hall. And that the lead was passed on to Christine Price for that. And there was considerable work on the Circle of Native Minds project, which there's a discussion about having that become a series of documentaries that would highlight our Native community and the county. And then this afternoon, I attended the Lake County Continuum of Care meeting. I will be sworn into the executive committee probably the next meeting. Today we had discussions mostly about preliminary figures on the point in time count, which counts the number of people that are unsheltered in the county, and committee reports, and that's it.
Councilman Kramer.
I have nothing.
Vice Mayor Downey.
I just have one little thing to report. It's almost something to, we're gonna look forward to in the future. I've been asked to kind of be the liaison person to coordinate, lunch with the mayor with our high school students at Lower Lake High School. So we're gonna be doing that in February 19th. We're gonna have, Mayor Slutin come and meet with some of our juniors and seniors on campus to kind of learn about local government and what his role is as mayor within the city. And then we're gonna see if we can get some lunch provided. So I'm gonna start coordinating and organizing that and yeah, get that rolling and hopefully we can build some sort of like a youth program, like, having youth here and that kind of stuff and maybe getting some more young people involved.
Great, thank you for doing that. I did have a LAFCO meeting on the 21st. I wasn't a whole lot talked about, so I don't remember much about it. I do have one comment. Starting also on the 19th, I'm starting a program, Coffee with the Mayor. First time will also be February 19th at Grandpa's at 8:30 in the morning. So if you want to come talk to me, I'll be there. That's my report. Anybody else has something that you want to see on a future agenda item? If not, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Adjourn to close session.
And return to closed session.